Good morning. So I learned so much yesterday, and so obviously can't share it all today, though I'll be spreading it out in the next few days. But there was a lot to learn and absorb, and I guess today I want to talk about the movie Connect that Kirk Cameron came out with. Yesterday was the only viewing that I know of. I think there was one a couple of days ago as well, but it was one of those this time only viewings, and it was a really, really good, very informational, I guess, research project about how technology affects us and our kids. And so this has kind of been very scary for me as a parent to think about the kids we're raising and the generation that is so attached to their devices. And, us adults, we have easily fallen into that trap as well. And so, what I was encouraged by watching this film was just that technology is not the enemy here. Technology can be used for good, but there is so much available that's not always good. And so it's a matter of teaching our kids and ourselves. It's a heart issue, right? So it's about the heart. So it's a matter of do they have the heart to look away? Do they have the heart to just not have any interest in the things that are of the variety that isn't something we want them to know about, be exposed to, that kind of thing. Do they know what's right? Do they know what's wrong? So it's a heart issue. And so that they can utilize technology, and I can have the confidence as a mom that they're using it properly as a tool, as a resource. There's a lot of things that this generation right now has the belief, and it's not their fault, right? Because they have so much access to so much. And I think parents are doing things a little differently than the generations before us, where they will give in a lot of times, and sometimes we're just really busy. And so the devices, they help kind of keep the kids at bay and off of our case. I get it. We do limit our screen time in this house, but now, having each year they get bigger and bigger, older and older, more and more curious, more and more interested. And so I'm just hoping to equip myself to come up with ways that we can limit and exercise self-control and time management, that sort of thing. So what I was encouraged about is being a mom who puts her own device down, right? Who's not on her phone all the time. And I was convicted of this before watching the movie last night, but I feel like we need to be more present and more engaging with our kids. And so I've limited my time on the phone. So there's a time of the day that I'll come around and get back to people on email, on phone. Sorry, I have no interest in being in this room with the dogs while they're getting on each other's case. So anyway, I just wanted to limit that time, to limit the time where so I guess what I was getting at before they entered the room was that if I can set a time aside where I'm returning phone calls, where I'm sending texts, obviously my husband, I would communicate with him more readily, but outside of that, like basically just set aside a time to get all that done. And then obviously if they're napping or in bed, I can catch up on that as well, but I don't want it to interfere with my time with my husband either. So there's a lot of things that I think that we can exercise and restrain ourselves from. And so I've also got a limit on social media. I mean, there was a reason I got off social media in the first place, right? I got off of social media because I knew myself. I knew my tendency to get attached to things and to feedback. I'm a words person. I've already disclosed that. So people's comments, their likes or not likes, I mean, coming back, I'm noticing that there's a lot of changes and there's a lot more available to anyone who wants to communicate how they feel. Will you guys just leave me alone? And genuinely would get to me. Like if I post something and no one responds, I'm feeling like it wasn't effective enough. It wasn't meaty enough. I don't know. It wasn't what they were looking for. I guess these guys just want to hang out with me. So I just feel like the less I'm on it, probably the better for my health and outlook, right? Because coming back into it 3 years removed, I'm starting to feel some of that stuff already well back up, and I'm not even really on it. Like, haven't quite dove back into Facebook yet. Started an Instagram account again, but, I feel like I have to click on that app every hour or something. And why? Why? So I'm just, expressing how I feel and what my needs are, what my tendencies are, and maybe you'll be encouraged by it. I don't know, but to set limitations on myself, be an example to my kids, and let them know that just by watching me, I'm engaging with them. My eyes are on them and not my phone, and hopefully they'll learn that as well when they're starting to get phones. Thankfully, they're still in that teaching phase where we do have more of an influence over them. They haven't quite entered that training phase yet into the later years. So I don't know. I guess we're constantly preparing, right? We're constantly equipping, and we're constantly looking at ourselves and how we can be better so that we can influence them in the right way. So technology is not the enemy. We need to just come around our kids. We need to be present and engaging, be interested in them so that they don't have the mentality or pick up bad habits that we have where it's okay to be plugged in all the time. The problem with that too is, again, like my tendency is to get attached to people's responses. I don't want that for my kids. It didn't feel good to me, and I don't think it'll feel good to them too. And they put way too much weight into that, and especially in the ages that they are. I mean, it's such a delicate phase in life when they care what their friends think, and they, online people have so much more courage to say things that aren't nice, to say things that are really degrading, and make people feel real minimized and small. And so, I don't know. I think I'm just like I'm everywhere today. Finally got a nice long hot shower in, and that was long overdue, and it felt really good. But between that and hiding from my dogs, I feel like I've been a little scatterbrained today, but hopefully you picked up something, a few nuggets here and there about just to be encouraged that it's not so much technology. We can use it for good, and there are tools like Circle. On the movie they mentioned Circle by Disney. It's a cube thing that I don't know why they didn't call it cube and not circle, but there's this monitor